I know, chasing that dough, hitting that road, getting that money, man. All I know, loading that foe, kicking down doors, getting that money, man. We gon' make it money. We gon' take it Grizzly. We gon' make it money. We gon' take it Grizzly.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Earl Spence ducking Terrence Crawford by fighting Yordenis Ugas. Now, there's buzz on social media, Twitter in particular, that he's taking the easy route, Earl Spence, by fighting Ugas, and he's still avoiding Terrence Crawford. So we decided we'll talk about it. So I'm going to turn over to you, Conspira G. Is Earl Spence Jr. ducking Terrence Crawford by fighting Yordenis Ugas?
I would say no. The reason why is because Ugas got a belt. So to me, it's like you grab another belt. So then when you're negotiating the split, you have a better chance at being the A side. So I don't see that as a problem, you know. And not to mention Crawford just left Top Rank. So I'm pretty sure he's probably wants like I'm not going to say a tune-up fight, but I'm pretty sure if he's going with PBC, he probably has something in his contract that's like, you know, you got to fight this person, then you get the Spence fight or whatever, you know. So, and not to mention too, man, like Spence is recovering from an eye surgery or whatever. So I don't know if you want to call that ducking. I guess I wouldn't necessarily call it ducking because we know these two gentlemen are going to fight anyways. You know, that's the biggest fight in the welterweight division. We're going to see Crawford versus Spence. It's just a matter of time, you know. So I'm not mad at Spence per se getting that belt from Ugas. And that, let me just say this. He might lose that fight to Ugas. You know, Ugas is a skilled Cuban fighter. So it's not like going to be a cakewalk against Ugas. But if he gets that belt, then he has more belts to say, hey, you know what, Crawford, you're going to have to listen to me. I make the terms. You know, without that belt, you know, it's possible Crawford has a better chance at hey, man, he might get 50-50, but I doubt it. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, to make sure that he's the A side, he's going to get that belt from Ugas first.
All right, Dollar Bill.
This is chess, not checkers, baby. You know? And that's what Earl, he's over here doing. He's playing chess. Like G said, you saying the more hardware he pick up is better for negotiation. And that's what I think he's thinking. And Ugas, why are they people saying like Ugas is like he's some slouch or something? He beat Sean Porter. He got robbed, but he beat Sean Porter. You know what I'm saying? Anybody with two eyes can see that, you know? And Ugas is tough. And he just defeated the great Manny Pacquiao. Give him some respect. Put some respect on that. Ugas is coming off of a bigger win. He's coming off of a bigger win. No, it's not ducking that nobody. And we've been to what Earl was going to do a long time ago. He was staying on the side of history where he is until TC decides what he's going to do, who he's going to sign with, and what he's going to do. That's all going to come out. And I think, you know, this is not a duck at all. This is not it's a good challenge, and it's good work. You know, it's good challenge, it's good work, and it's good business. You know, so it's definitely not a duck. Yeah, y'all should be asking yourself what Crawford gonna do next. That's what y'all should be asking yourselves. You know, because if I was Crawford, I would have been trying to, instead of, you know, trying to pick on the guy who's already sharp one, I would have been trying to get the Ugas fight. So I would have had, you know, I could be unified and he'll be unified and we could have got it on. But, you know, you wanted to pick on Sean and, you know, I would try to make something else happen. But, hey, it is what it is. But no, if you ask me, is Spence ducking Crawford by fighting Ugas? Absolutely not.
All right, Ned the TBE.
Nah, it's not ducking at all, man. Ugas, it's like if Spence was to fight Crawford before Ugas, he would be leaving money on the table. And I get it, like we all just said, like he got it. If he gets that last piece if he gets that third belt, it just makes it more. It adds more glamour to the fight when he fights Crawford, when they fight for undisputed. They get this a mega fight. It's the biggest fight. Be one of the biggest fights of the 2022. And who be mad at that? Like, Ugas is holding the strap right now. Let's go get that. We're not going. I'm not even talking like Spence gonna walk through Ugas. Spence has been out of commission with an eye injury. We don't know how that affects him. So let's see Spence get that strap. We don't know what Crawford's next moves are. We don't know where he's going. He might go to the zone. He might go to match room. Well, he might go to PBC. He might go. We don't know where he's going. So, only time will tell. And right now, Spence don't have time. With that time, go get another belt or go try to get another belt.
Trill, let me hold this, man. It's not who's right, it's who's liked. That's what it is. It's not who's right, it's who's liked. If you look at this from an objective standpoint, meaning let's just put our hands up and be objective. When Terrence Crawford was with Bob Arum, after he beat Kell Brook, Bob Arum said that Terrence Crawford was so good he could beat Danny Garcia and Earl Spence in the same night, and that he wanted Earl Spence next. They put the mic in front of Terrence Crawford, and he said he wanted Manny Pacquiao. Arum said again he wanted Spence, and they put the mic on Terrence Crawford, and he said he wanted Manny Pacquiao. So at that particular point in time, so let's keep things on a timeline, right? People like to go back to years that have already passed. Let's deal with the most recent thing, because like Drake said in his song, don't talk to me like I'm the same Drake from a year ago. I'm at a higher place, right? People talk about back in the days. This isn't back in the days. You understand? Stop going. That's Nas. People talking about back in the days. This isn't back in the days. People can talk to me like I'm not still that same kid in high school. I've elevated a little bit in stature and life and everything. You can't talk to me the same. We can't treat me the same way. So people keep talking about things like the go-to for Terrence Crawford is something that happened years ago, overlooking the cycle of fights that have taken place since then. So let's just go strictly to the same timeline. When Bob Arum said he wanted Spence, TC said he wanted Pac-Man. At that time, Spence said he would fight TC for 60-40 because TC said it from his own mouth in an interview. Said it looks like the fight never happened because he's talking this 60-40, and if anything, I'm getting 60 and he's getting 40. So what TC said from his own mouth. Just look it up. None of this is speculation. None of this is innuendo. None of this is, well, if this is all true that you can look up for yourself. And another thing that happened was Spence ended up getting the Pacquiao fight and TC didn't. You couldn't call that a duck then because your guy wanted Manny Pacquiao, but he couldn't get him and Spence got him. Otherwise, you would have tried to call it a duck then. Spence gets injured, and so he pulls out of the Manny Pacquiao fight, and then you call him a ducker and you say that he ducked Manny Pacquiao for pulling out of the fight. Dennis Ugas steps in on short notice, and he beats Manny Pacquiao, who's really the rightful holder of the WBA belt because he's actually the guy who beat Keith Thurman. So then Ugas goes in, beats him, and earns the belt because he basically beat Manny. He has the WBA belt. So now Earl Spence says, for my return fight off of surgery on my eye, I am going to fight a champion the same way for my return fight after a life-threatening car accident. I'm choosing to fight Danny Garcia, and people call him a ducker. But if you run through Terrence Crawford's resume, Ugas would be the best fighter on his resume. Sean Porter beat Ugas in a highly debatable fight. But the best victory on Sean Porter's resume doesn't equate to a Manny Pacquiao. And at the time when Ugas beat Manny Pacquiao, it was the Manny Pacquiao sweepstakes. Everybody in the welterweight division wanted Manny, from Crawford himself to Earl himself, and somehow Ugas ends up the one getting the fight and he wins. Someone told me that, oh, the reason why TC wanted Manny Pacquiao was because he wanted Manny to pass the torch to him. He wanted to beat Manny so he could inherit the torch. He could inherit fame off the name. He could inherit all those things. Okay, cool. I give you that. That's why he wanted TC. That's why he wanted Manny. That's why he didn't want Earl. So it's not a duck. I give you that. But guess what happened? Ugas beat him and took the torch. Ugas beat him and took fame off the name. Ugas beat him and now inserted himself in the discussion. So now Earl Spence wants to fight the man who beat Manny Pacquiao and took the torch so he could inherit the torch, so he could inherit all that, and somehow it's called a duck. I don't get it. At the end of the day, he's fighting another champion. He's fighting someone who did something that TC wanted to do himself, beat Manny Pacquiao, something that he wanted to do himself, beat Manny Pacquiao, and get the WBA belt. His first fight after having eye surgery. If you don't want to buy the fact that he had eye surgery, fine. So what's going to end up happening is people are going to say Ugas is an elite, Ugas is a bum when Earl Spence fights him for the belt. But then next year when TC fights him, somehow he's going to be good again. Somehow he's going to be the man again. The same way it happened with Kell Brook, the same way it happened with Sean Porter, and the same way it's about to happen with Ugas. The question is, if Earl is such a bum, why is TC's biggest victories fighting guys he already beat first? If Earl's such a bum, why is he beating you to the punch, beating all the big names in your division? Hell, there's only like one guy in the division he can beat. Well, two. And Earl's about to fight him. There's only two guys in the division he can really beat to prove he's better than Earl that Earl hasn't beaten that were former champions, and that's Keith Thurman and Ugas. But Earl's about to beat him to Ugas, which is why people are crying. There's some other names out there. We're going to get into that in a later segment that TC can step in the ring with, but his fans don't want him to step in the ring with that guy. So they want to try to protect them. This is when fanboying goes wrong. At the end of the day, he's fighting another champion who has a big win over Manny Pacquiao. He's going for the belt. He's doing something that no one else in the welterweight division has done in a long time. He's collecting belts. So salute to Earl. No, it's not a duck.
Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.
You're welcome. You're all welcome.